What's up, world? It's your boy, Coach EV, aka EV the Geeker, and welcome to another edition of the Geeker Report podcast. Man, listen, I am as excited as I can be. I am with oh my God, an icon. He's an icon to me. He doesn't really know how much he blessed me. I saw his story on Twitter. And when he was given the head coaching job, and February 26, 2021, for me, one of the last days of Black History Month this year, will always be remembered for me as the shocker miracle. And it happened in Wichita, Kansas, where a young man named Issac Brown, the 51-year-old coach from Pascagoula, Mississippi, who's the same age as I am, had his interim tag removed and given a 5-year deal to become the head coach at Wichita State. And you say, Evie, why is that important? Well, it's important because up until then, Issac Brown had been what I call a Black assistant coach journeyman. He had been coaching for over 20 years, 19 at the Division I level. And most of us who know, just keeping it real, when you have coached that long, usually when you get a head coaching job, and there's nothing to say against it, you usually get a head coaching job at the SWAC, at the MEAC level, or all Black college, which is not all bad, but they usually get a job with limited resources. But the shocker miracle happened. God, in his infinite wisdom, saw fit for the AD at Wichita State to hire the man that I have the pleasure of introducing, the great, magnificent, and wonderful Issac Brown. What's up, Coach?
Thank you for having me, Eric. Heard a lot about your show, man. So excited to be on. Great opportunity to be the head coach at Wichita State. Like you said, it's nothing but a blessing from God. And we got really good players that helped as well. But the number one thing, it was just God, looking out after me. It was a long journey. Like you said, we met back in the junior college days, back in probably 1999, when I worked for a legendary coach, Bruce Stewart, that taught me everything about the basketball game, about the recruiting game, about the relationship game, and just so honored to be on your show, man.
Man, I appreciate you, and I have to tell you, we're kind of rekindling our relationship because it's a long time we were connected to. I agree with you, a legend, Bruce Stewart, who to me I call an XO genius. But I have to. This is just part of it. I have to give you what I call a GOG. A GOG simply means this, Coach Brown: get out of the geek. You are geeking early. I appreciate you. I know you're looking like, what is he talking about? That is one of. That's my deal. I'm a silly dude, Coach. And matter of fact, my wife is the only one that calls me Eric. You're my friend. You call me EV. That cool?
Yeah, that's cool. That's
my
cool.
Man.
I got it.
Hey, you know what? Just ask Zoe and T. Dildy and people like that know me, man. I'm just Coach Brent. I'm just like, man, I'm just a fun-loving guy. Man, listen, I'm so excited, man, to have you, because not only did you have, a phenomenal, like a situation that happened to you, you came in and took over, let's just face it, a lot of turmoil, a lot of stuff going on. And not only did you come in and right the ship, you come in and you go 16-5. You win the AAC regular season. You're the AAC Coach of the Year. Coach, how did you get it done? I mean, just talk to us a little bit about how you got it done.
You know what? In the beginning, when I first took the job, following a Hall of Fame coach, I was unsure if these players would stay, number one. After we had our first meeting, I talked to the kids about, just thinking about playing this year and not opting out. Give us the opportunity, because no matter what, it's a free year for you. This year, guys get their year back. Those guys decided they wanted to stay. And we talked about trusting each other. I'll never forget our first practice. We had a little adversity. We battled through that. And just the entire year, the leadership in the locker room was great. We played our first 2 games. We only had 8 players due to the COVID versus Mizzou and versus Oklahoma State. We lost both of those games, but it was a learning experience. And the first thing I told the players in the locker room, don't point fingers. We lost the games. We got to learn from it and get better. And those guys continued to come together. The leadership was really good. I had good guard play. Before all this even started, I had to make a good hire. So, I had a lot of guys calling me, but I was looking around the country. I wanted a guy that had head coaching experience. I had never called a timeout, even though I had worked for 3 Final Four coaches during my assistant days, working for Greg Marshall, who's a great basketball coach, working with Richard Williams, who was the head coach at Mississippi State, another Final Four coach. I worked with him at Arkansas State. John Brady was the head coach at the time. He was another Final Four coach I worked with. So I felt like I had a lot of experience. Those guys had given me a lot of tasks over the years, but I had never called a timeout, and I needed someone that had some experience. So my first hire was Billy Kennedy, and I had been knowing Billy Kennedy since I was in 11th grade. When I was a high school player playing AAU basketball, he was a part of the New Orleans Spartans organization, which was a big AAU coach in New Orleans. And he ended up coaching me at Texas A&M. He was a part of Kermit Davis' first class at Texas A&M. Me and him stayed in contact over the years. He did a great job at Murray State as a head coach, getting those guys to the NCAA tournament. He did a great job at Texas A&M, and he was a guy that I wanted to hire. I needed somebody with experience. He came in, and he was great for me. I had a good coaching staff with me. Tyson Waterman, who was a big-time recruiter on the East Coast. Another guy named Luca Dino, who was another experienced guy, and those guys have helped me so much. But, we got good players. Those guys came together. They fought, they battled the entire year. They never pointed fingers, and we were able to get a championship this year.
Man, that's awesome. I tell you, man, I remember Tyson Waterman. I was in North Carolina. I think he came from Believe Prep.
Yeah.
I know I've had some conversation with him over the years. I got a little surprise for you. I'm going to bring someone else on the show here. Someone and I'm going to see if if you know these guys. We always surprise people here at the Geek Report. You don't know what we're going to do here, Doc. This is
Lord, the basketball gurus of Mississippi.
We can't. Hey, listen, I'm just going to tell you this. I just got through interviewing Conzo Martin, and Zoe and I go way back. Yeah. So I really felt like I could play him one-on-one. I could interview, but there was no way that I was going to interview Isaac Brown, a guy who defied all odds, one-on-one. You demand the double team. Matter of fact, we're gonna triple team you today because we can't guard you one-on-one. I mean, I understood. I had the scouting report. History was made, and I said, you know what? I got to bring Lavelle Shoes Johnson on and Kevin Cole from your area of town on here to help me interview and talk to Isaac Brown, because I just couldn't do it by myself. You just got too much stuff in your game.
First of all, I want to apologize to my 2 good friends about Dallas. I was unable to get those guys tickets due to the COVID. They're shortening our ticket numbers, but you can best believe I'm going to take care of those 2 guys. 2 basketball gurus in Mississippi. Anytime I'm recruiting in the South, I can call one of those guys and find out how good the kid really is. And they're going to shoot me straight. They're going to say, Brown, he good enough, or Brown, you need to get in your car and get down here tomorrow. But those guys do a great job in Mississippi about talking about the talent in the South. And there he is himself, the legendary Jackson native.
What's up, guys?
Chilling, man.
What's going on, my guy?
Trying to make it, brother.
Hey.
Kevin Cole, are you there?
I don't know, man. I don't see anything. So I don't know.
We hear your voice, but we don't see you.
I don't know what the problem is.
You got to hit video, man.
Yeah, you might have to hit video. That's you've only done this. We do it every week, but maybe you didn't hit video today.
Hey, he from the coast, man. He from the coast.
Oh man, you're gonna kill your area. You're gonna kill your own home.
Well, let me say this while Kevin is trying to get on Isaac. Here's something. and I was all sincere. Like I'm serious when as I shared with in the opening, I was in tears when I saw, you getting hired because, again, me and you, I obviously have the connection to Bruce Stewart, and our paths went differently. And we're both 51 years of age. We're both from Mississippi. And do you understand the magnitude of what happened to you? Because let me throw out a couple names. You got guys who've been coaching, who've been what you call lifelong assistants. George Brooks, Mississippi State. Tracy Dildy. T. Dildy and I go way back. Tracy Dildy was one of the top assistant coaches, had been at so many high majors. And then finally, when he got a job, it was one of the worst jobs in the country in Chicago State. You got a guy like Dwayne Stevens, who's at Michigan State, and you try to figure out, well, why can't he get a head coaching job? You have Cornell Mann at University of Missouri, and the list goes on and on and on. And so for you, man, to be coaching, and obviously, I know I just know you. The Bible says, and I always go in the Bible, try spirit by the spirit, and I can just tell you that you're not a God that won't wish something bad on somebody. So you have your opportunity, and you get a job like Wichita State, where, let's just face it, you have the better resources. It's a great job. Do you understand the magnitude of your situation?
You know what? Number one, man, like you said, it's just a blessing to be given this opportunity. When I first got the job as the interim, and not in my wildest dreams did I think I would be the head coach of Wichita State. I thought I just wanted to, give these guys all I had. I wanted to make sure they were prepared to play basketball. I wanted to make sure they were doing what they needed to do in the classroom. I wanted to make sure they were taking care of themselves off the court with the COVID. So the magnitude of it really didn't hit me until, maybe a couple of weeks later, when everybody was calling me saying different stuff. But I know the journey that a lot of these assistant coaches have been on. There's a lot of good coaches out there who can be head coaches, and just having the opportunity to be a head coach, I got to go at it 110%, because so many guys, this can help them get a job. If I do well, it's going to help other assistant coaches. And I know I'm going to give 110% every day. But my plan was, once I got the job as the interim, was just to coach the team, and hopefully I would get a job next year as an assistant coach somewhere, or to be a head coach at a junior college. That was the plan for me, and not in my wildest dreams that I ever think I would get the job. But I wanted to prepare for every game. I knew that I had worked for 3 Final Four coaches that had given me a lot of tasks throughout the years, and I just wanted to be prepared. And I just knew I had to do a good job with getting these kids to come together, mentoring them, and making sure we were on and organized on the court, off the court. And these guys just backed me 110%. I think, number one, I made it fun for the players. Now I kept it 100 with them, but offensively, I tried to give those guys, the opportunity to go out and make the same plays they played in AAU basketball, by being able to create off the bounce, not getting on those guys about every time they took a bad shot, but freeing them up offensively to do some great things. And on defense, that's how we win here at Wichita State. I want you to defend. I want you to rebound. I want you to play with toughness. If you do those 3 things, you're going to stay on the court. It's not about your offense. And those guys bought in and gave me 110% every day.
Man, I can tell you this, man. You have made all of us proud. There's no question. I say we're living, and you're living, obviously, in what I call Ephesians 3:20 season, where God will give you more than you can ask or think. And as you say, your wildest dreams. And so it is no question exciting that you got the opportunity and you came in. And not only that, it sounds like you exceeded your own expectations, and you went in and at the end of the day, basically you knew you could coach. It was just a matter of, you just needed an opportunity.
No doubt about it. I've been coaching for 19 years. Like I said, I worked for 3 Final Four coaches. I've been to 7 NCAA tournaments. The resume says that I have the opportunity to be a head coach. I just never got a job. Like I interviewed at, a swag school. I decided not to take it at the time. I interviewed at a Southland Conference school. I didn't get the job. So I had a couple of interviews, but I wasn't fortunate enough to get those jobs. So a lot of times, for long-time assistants, we just don't get those chances. So I had this opportunity to get this chance, and I just wanted to give it 110% every day.
That's powerful, man. Just like, it's crazy because, I actually been coaching for 28 years myself, and I've coached in over 900 games at every level, from, like I said, coaching with Bruce Stewart in the CBA, which was like the G League now, NAIA basketball, high level AAU, high school, middle school, dog school, just coaching whatever, And so I'm telling you, when you get what people don't understand, 51. I had a guy tell me, he says, EV, and I got my degree late. So because I was doing ministry, doing businesses. So I got my degree in 2018. And so I didn't really pursue, Division I coaching jobs. But he says, when you get 51, man, here's crazy. You pretty much have aged out. At 51, think about that. When Jim Boeheim and Krzyzewski, they 80 years old still coaching. You know what I mean? And so, man, 51. And so that's why it touched me. So you and I are the same age. You're 2 months. I was born in July. You're born in May. So you're a few months older than I am. I can't reiterate enough to anybody that's watching what a major blessing. You've earned it. You deserve it. And I pray that if there's any other athletic directors out here and search firms that are out here, that they can see that there are other Isaac Browns out there in the country that's coaching right now, and that you need to give him a chance at one of these resource-filled schools. Because I'm not going to say I coached at Jackson State, and Jackson State under Coach Brent is a quality school. You get a quality education. So we're not dismissing that part of it, but we all know that there are different resources when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to budget, versus a Jackson State versus a Wichita State, and so talk to us a little bit about, though, because I can stay on that all the time, and I'm so excited about it, but talk to us about your team. First, that and what you got to do, you feel, to advance in this NCAA tournament, because we're all rooting for you.
Number one, we got to play better than we did in the conference tournament. Offensively, I felt like we didn't have good spacing. We didn't share the ball, and we didn't make shots in the conference tournament. We didn't crack 70 one time in the conference tournament when we had been scoring a lot. We were making double-figure threes in games. We made 10 the game before, 13 the game before that. So on offense, we just got to keep it simple, share the basketball, make wide open shots. On defense, we got to do a better job of just defending at a high level, keeping the ball in front, putting our defensive principles, being in the gaps, making sure we do a great job of our ball screen coverage, which we didn't do in the conference tournament. Then we got to rebound. After being at Wichita State for 7 years, the things you have to do in the NCAA tournament to advance, you got to defend at a high level, you got to rebound, you got to play with toughness. And on offense, you have to execute. Coach always talked about stealing baskets in the NCAA tournament. Stealing baskets don't mean beating somebody one-on-one off the bounce. That's about talent. It means you got to execute your plays, because the team you're going up against, they hadn't scouted you a lot. So we got to do a better job of executing in the half court for sure.
This is a very unique situation. I'm going to let Kevin or Shoes ask a question they like after this. It's a very unique situation this year, obviously, with the COVID-19 season that we've had. Talk to me a little bit about the bubble experience and how your guys, you're in Indy, you're quarantined or whatever, or tell me a little bit, talk to me a little bit about that.
When we found out we were coming to Indiana, we left Monday morning. When we got to Indiana on a private flight, we got off the flight. They had 3 Greyhound bus outside. We had 24 people in our party. 8 people got on each bus. a big Greyhound is only 8 people on the bus, and you got to sit like every 4 or 5 seats, a different person sits in that chair. So once we got to the hotel, we immediately took COVID tests. Once you take the COVID test, you immediately go to your room. We had to sit in quarantine for 18 hours. So someone would knock on your door. It would be somebody leaving food. They wouldn't come in. They just set your food at your door at certain times of the day. You pick your food up, you come back in your room. The next morning, I think about 7 a.m., we had another COVID test. After you take that COVID test, you go back to your room. We had to sit there for 6 more hours. Finally, we were able to get out. We went and watched film. We had practice about 7 o'clock that night. You have an hour and 20-minute drive, because we're living in downtown Indianapolis at the Marriott, but we're playing at Purdue University, which is about an hour and 20-minute drive. So by the time we got back from the 7 o'clock practice, it was 10:45. So we ate, we immediately went to bed. We woke up this morning, we did a bunch of interviews, and now we're back on the 6th floor. So you cannot leave the 6th floor. You got to stay in your room. But we're just excited about the opportunity, man, to be one of 68 teams, to be at the NCAA tournament. That lets us know that we got a good basketball team, and we're excited just to be here, you know?
Wow, that's awesome. That's incredible. Yeah, I lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana for 20 years, so I know that trip down 65, I think, to West Lafayette. And so that is that's very interesting. And I'm guessing Purdue made the tournament. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
So I wonder, are they still on campus, or is everybody has to do that same thing in Indiana? You know, that's interesting.
You know what? I don't know, because some teams just got here yesterday. So when you get here, you got to quarantine for 18 hours.
Wow, that's great. That's unbelievable. And when you say you got 3 Greyhound buses for 24 people, when a Greyhound bus itself seats 50 people, and you have to do that, that's a very unique situation. Shoes, you got something for Coach? You got to unmute, Shoes.
Man, Shoes and Kevin Cole having problems today, man.
Yeah,
I've been on. Okay, I've been up. I thought I was on. Look, I just want to say, first of all, Isaac, right after you, right after you got named interim coach, we talked, and I was, we were talking about taking this opportunity, making the most of it. Maybe you getting, you using it as a springboard, and I don't think either one of us thought that we're necessarily thinking you would get necessarily be the next coach of Wichita next year, but we were talking about the opportunity for you to prove yourself as a valuable head coaching candidate, and go and use it as a springboard. So I just want to say, it's not much a question. I just want to say, I'm really happy for you, proud for you. Hope that conversation went a long way with your mindset for this, because you and I have been dealing with each other a long time, and I'm glad to see you get an opportunity here. I also want to say that I want to take this opportunity to say that fortunately we've had another African American coach who's been an assistant have the same situation happen to him this year. Terrence Johnson over at Texas State. He's been named the head coach for next year after being the interim this year. So you guys, hopefully you all are setting creating a springboard and a platform for the rest of our up and coming African American coaches who've kind of been saddled as assistants for years. And I'm just happy for both of you guys, and just want to say that I'm glad that after our conversation, the way things went and it worked out really, really well.
I think we have to, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy for Terrence, been knowing him a long time. We call him TJ. He did a great job at Texas State this year, winning a conference championship, them giving them the job. I would just tell all the assistant coaches, you just got to stay prepared, because you never know when the opportunity is going to come. I've learned a little bit from all the coaches that I work for, and you just got to be prepared, because that opportunity could come tomorrow. And we got to set a great example, number one, about doing it the right way, making sure we're taking care of these basketball players, making sure that we help these kids accomplish all their dreams and goals. And outside of basketball, just being good mentors for these young men.
my next thing I'd say is tell me how you're approaching sustaining it, because this year is so difficult. You guys can't get out and recruit, really get out and see guys. So the recruiting is going to be kind of different this year. What's your mindset? What's your plan on, recruiting and sustaining everything?
You know what? Number one, I'm going to try to recruit everybody that's on my team back for next year, because the NCAA has allowed these guys to have an extra year. We only have 2 seniors on the basketball team. That's Al Tariq Gilbert and Trey Wade, my starting 1 and 4. I hadn't sat down with those guys yet, but at the end of the year, I will. They're welcome back. Number 2, Wichita is an easy place to recruit for, man. It's a great basketball city. 500,000 people. We don't wear football helmets, so basketball is king here. No matter who we play, we could play Louisiana College. It's going to be 16,000 people in the stands. So I think all kids want to play in a basketball environment. We have a lot of NBA players that came here, played at Wichita State, and got an opportunity to play in the NBA. None of those guys coming out of high school were 5 stars. I think Wichita is a place where you can come in, you can develop, you're going to play in a big-time atmosphere. In the last 10 years, we've been to 8 NCAA tournaments and 1 NIT Final Four. So the basketball at Wichita is a great place to come and play.
Well, I know, Coach, you got a busy schedule, man. We just wanted to pop on. We appreciate you. Man, I know we could talk all day and reminisce, but I know you got a hectic schedule. And again, man, thank you so much. And Wichita seems like the place where 3 stars can become 5 stars,
100%.
And so, and obviously they picked a 5-star coach that was always a 5-star, in the waiting. And so I just pray in God's continued success on you. I think about, you make me think about, because again, when I think about you, I just think about a guy like Terry Johnson from Ohio State, assistant, who was passed over, turn after turn at Butler, and he's now the assistant at Ohio State. Good job, but I've known Terry, who we call TJ, for a long time, and, his time is coming. So again, you have, you are a legend in my mind. You've done something that not many people have done, and you give hope to a lot of young coaches, young African-American coaches. And so my hat's off to you. And Coach, we have this thing we call the Last Geek.
Yeah.
And the Last Geek is, whatever you want to say before we close. If there's anybody from, your family to Shocker Nation, just anything that you want to, share before we jump off the air.
I would just say thanks for you having me on. You do a great job with your show. Hopefully you can get me on every year. Kevin, LaVale, thank you guys for doing what you do in Mississippi, putting those kids out to get them opportunities, get recruited and all that. And again, to all the young coaches, man, just keep working hard, blessed with God, stay blessed up, and one day your opportunity will come. And when it comes, you just got to be ready to go. Always be prepared to be a head coach, because you never know when that opportunity will come.
And my last geek, as we close here, is to my guy, Tunde Wade, who actually got us together. Tunde Wade is one of my sponsors with Tatum and Wade Law Firm, located right here at 124 East of Meade Street in Jackson, Mississippi. And they are serious lawyers who get serious results. But I say, if you want to get paid, you need to go to Tatum and Wade. And so, I had to shout out to my guy, Tunde, because without him, this would have been made possible. For Shoes, LaVale Shoes Johnson and Issac Brown, I'm Coach EV, aka EV the Geeker, saying good evening, good afternoon, and remember, it's all just a geek, and I